Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. All right, so we're going to spend the next hour and a half together. And today's word actually is two words. It's reverse aging. I mentioned that in the past, reverse aging. Because the other word is longevity, which doesn't make any sense. Longevity means that we don't die. You have to die. Everybody dies. That's not something you can avoid. But it's not about not dying. It's about really, as we grow into our golden ages, to maintain that vitality so we can really enjoy life when we have a chance to do it. So what does reverse aging mean? How do you reverse aging? All the way back to when you were born? No. So before I retire and focus on my spiritual practice, I was an entrepreneur. I had my own companies, 2 of them. And then before that, I was a university professor. So when I became an entrepreneur, I really relearned everything once again. And then after I retired, I actually taught entrepreneurship for a while. And so I used to use this story and teach the students about competitiveness, how to stay competitive. So the story is about 2 guys hiking in the wilderness, and they saw a bear, a very, very hungry bear. And the bear is rushing towards them, so they have to run for their life. So the question is, you can't outrun the bear. The bear is charging. You cannot outrun the bear. So how do you survive? What's the key to survival? The key to survival is that you don't need to outrun the bear. You just have to outrun your friend. And that's the point of competitiveness. You just have to outrun your competition. So what does reverse aging mean? It means that you don't have to outrun life as if you're going to live forever. That's not the point. You just have to outrun yourself. Okay? Outrun yourself. Reverse aging means that you're actually slowing down the aging process so that you look younger than your age. I'm 66 years old. I think I look younger than my age, right? So I'm a success in what I'm talking about. So how do you maintain your vitality? How do you maintain your health? How do you maintain your robustness as you go into your golden age? So that you have this either longevity or reverse aging. So there was a report that came out that was really nice, and that's why I wanted to share with you. 4 things you have to do. 4 things. Now, the last one is actually the one that we pay a lot of attention to, but it turns out that it's very important, but it's actually the 4th important, which is the food that we consume. Surprisingly, right? You would think that, if we want to have good health, we have to make sure that we eat right. True, very true, very, very true. But I'm saying that compared to the other 3, it's actually only the 4 factors. The first factor is your mental state. It's how you view yourself and others. And it turns out that being gracious, feeling gratitude, and then moving towards acceptance and forgiveness is the key. It's the key. It's actually the key. So here we practiced, last week we talked about the 4 immeasurables. And then later on we're going to practice metta, which is the first one of the 4, called loving kindness. Loving kindness to yourself, loving kindness to your family, loving kindness to your friends, loving kindness to the world. It's very, very important to your health. Not just the mental health, but the whole physical health. The second thing after loving kindness is compassion, and then after that is empathy. But it's actually not just empathy, it's empathetic joy. And we're going to talk about that too. And the last one is equanimity. It's to develop the sense of detachment. I feel it, I accept it, and I'm letting it go. So the state of mind is the number 1 key to health. And I can attest to that. It turns out that the number 2, surprisingly, is the management of the cortisol in your body. Now, I mentioned cortisol many times. It's one of the very important hormones in the body. It's called a stress hormone. It's a steroid, and together with the adrenaline, they're the stress hormone that puts out by the adrenal gland, and it's a signal that sends through the body to tell it to shut down all the things that you don't need when you're confronted by danger, being chased by a bear, trying to get to work on time, crossing the street and the bus is coming your way, get run over. It's our way of surviving. And what it does is that it shuts down everything that you don't need. Things like, first thing it's going to do is shut down your salivary gland. Shut down your salivary gland. Because the salivary gland is a signal for digestions and immunity and all that. So you would notice that your mouth is very dry. I notice that many people walk around with bottled water drinking. We talk a great deal about how important it is to hydrate, but we don't talk about how the body actually naturally hydrates itself by the saliva. And very many people have problems with digesting food because they don't have enough salivas. Okay, so managing your cortisol is very important. Managing the balance between your fight or flight versus your rest and digest, the parasympathetic versus the sympathetic. The Chinese know all about that. They know about that for thousands of years. They call it the yin-yang harmony, maintaining the harmony between the yin and the yang. The yang is the masculine, it's the sun, it's the sympathetic, is the fight or flight. The yin is the restorative, is the rest and digest. So that's number two, how to maintain that balance, how to manage cortisol. So we do a lot here. We talk about how to sit properly. We talk about breathe properly. We talk about how to pay attention to our body, pay attention to our breathing. The third one is very obvious. It's exercise. Exercise. As we age, we need to maintain that regimen and doing exercise. But it's the right kind of exercise. It's the right kind of exercise. Okay? I don't think my body is capable of running a mile a day. That doesn't work for me. But I do exercise. Okay? And it basically breaks down to three kinds of exercise. The kind that is good for your cardio. Now the Chinese, they don't separate the heart from the lung, so this is all combined. Okay. The second one is maintaining elasticity in your body, doing a lot of stretching, and then finally this is the one that is often ignored. As we grow old, we're losing muscle. We're losing muscle, and so it's very important that we we maintain the muscle in the body. Now, so today I'm going to go back. I did this before, and I'm going to go back to practice here and then on the floor. And then today we're going to practice Yi Jing Jing. I'll talk more about that. It actually one exercise combine all three. Okay, it's a very, very good exercise I learned for reverse aging. I know that I'm breathing in. I know that I'm breathing out. So this is actually very important, okay? So this is when I talk about management of your cortisol, is that you're enticing your body, you're guiding your body back into the rest and digest by just focusing on your breathing. The problem with mismanagement of cortisol is that cortisol is a steroid. Steroid is anti-inflammatory. So when your body inflames, it heals itself with cortisol. That's why people have heart attack. They have lots of deposits in the blood vessel, because the body is trying to heal itself. Okay? And the problem is that when you're under stress 24/7, the body actually develops resistance to cortisol. So you no longer have that natural healing agent in your body because it's not effective anymore. And that's the problem with too much stress. Okay? All right. Now open your eyes. So let me talk about reverse aging a little bit. What if when we talk about reverse aging is living in our golden years with the vitality and the robustness and the health that we used to have back when we were younger? What if that is the normal state? What if that is the normal state? That's the way we should be. And it's just that we lost the art of aging. What if that were the case? So the question is, how do you lose the art of aging? How does it work? Well, then you have to understand that your existence is not just this body. What's aging is this body, right? And when you're aging prematurely is that you don't actually understand your existence, and you focus only on this body as opposed to the entire spectrum of your existence. So in the past, I talked about how the North Indians think about our existence, and they separate into 5 different parts, like the Russian Tao, one on top of each other. The very outer part is this body that they call the food body. This is just the food that you consume. When you die, it's gone. It's going back. You're just borrowing, right? You're borrowing food from the earth, and that becomes your body. And when you die, you return it. Okay, that's like loaning a book from the library, except that there's no way not to return. Okay, you can't keep this. So this is the most outer part. This is what the Westerners, the Western scientists focus on. That's why their entire medical science is based on a cadaver. It's a dead body. And that's it, right? Now, inside of that is perhaps the intelligence part. And it's not just the brain, like I mentioned. It's the entire spiral cord to the brain. It's about the feeling and then also about the judgment part. Okay, so it's 2 different things. Again, when you die, it's gone. It's gone. And then the center part is the energy part. And it's not the energy that is generated by the food body, but more like the energy from the universe that's passing through you. Okay, so the Chinese took that concept, a very complicated concept, when they talk about the 72,000 nadi, and just digest it and make it into simple. And they talk about the 12 meridians, and each one of them is active to 2 hours to make up to 24 hours. So energy comes in the body, goes back out, comes in again, goes back out, and eventually, according to the solar, right, 24 hours. So that's the energy body. And again, when a person dies, it's gone. Except that it only exists in the living body and not in a cadaver. So if your medical science is based on a cadaver, you will never accept that. You will never accept that there is chi. And then there's 2 more. In the very core would be like the sun. I talk about this. It would be like the sun. This is what we have. This is the bliss that we have. And that is the 4 immeasurables. So when I talk about spiritual practice, we believe that we are trapped into this body, this food body, and we're trying to practice to emancipate ourselves from this food body and escaping the desire realm. So when we come back in the next life, reincarnated in the next life, we'll be in the what we call the Brahma realm, and that's what we are talking about, the 4 chambers of the Brahmins, right? The 4 immeasurables. And that's really what's trapped inside. It's like the sun covering with the cloud, can't get out. Okay? And metta practice is about getting that out. Let that shine through the black cloud. The black cloud is the one before the last. That's our karma. That's our trauma. That's our stress. That's everything. Everything that we do has a record. Everything that we do is electrical in nature. And electricity generates magnetism. Magnetism creates a record. So it's all there. It's all there. Today's word is reverse aging, as if you're just slowing down your aging, all right? Or actually getting back to the way aging should be without all the other contaminants. 4 things. State of mind is very important. State of mind is very important, right? So we're building a bridge towards enlightenment. That bridge is called the 4 immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion, empathy, and equanimity. The stepping stone to that bridge is being grateful and being very tolerant. That's the stepping stone. You got to start with that. And that state of mind is the key to reverse aging. Second one is managing your cortisol, understanding the fight or flight, the sympathetic versus the rest and digest, and the parasympathetic. The parasympathetic is a lost art. So this is something you have to practice the fight or flight has no off button. It only has an on button. So you need to bring it back. It's like the air conditioning and the heating. You just have to have both. So here we do a lot of that. Okay, do a lot of that using our body, using our breath, using all of that. It's all about managing your cortisol, maintaining that yin-yang balance. The third one is exercise. Okay, so the exercise that we do all through the hour and a half, including the I Ching Ching. Next week we do the breathing exercise. The three key components of the exercise is improving your lung and your heart, what we call cardio, doing some stretching, improving your flexibility, and then finally, most important is making sure that you don't lose muscle. Right? Very important.